Today we're looking at Sarracenia, and these are the North American pitcher plant. They're one of the easier of the carnivorous plants to grow outdoors, and if you're buying the plants you'll probably get them in a pot like this. And at the end of the video there'll be a set of notes that tell you exactly how to grow these plants, all the do's and all the don'ts. But you can also grow these plants in a bog garden, and we're lucky enough today to be visiting Ross's garden. It's a terrace garden, lots of interesting plants, lots of nooks and crannies. But Ross has been growing Sarracenia in two types of bog gardens for a number of years. So let's take a look. There are between 8 and 11 species and lots of natural hybrids and subspecies. They're found on the east coast of North America, extending up across to the Great Lakes and into southern Canada. So you've got this like in an artificial bog garden?
Yeah, it's about that deep. Got you know, that rubber, EPDM rubber.
So about 24 centimetres.
Yeah, about a foot deep. 50-50 peat moss.
Yep.
Coarse sand, get it from Daisy's, the washed coarse sand, river sand. And then I just top dressed with this quarter minus, and that's it.
And these are planted on the top so there's drainage below, so that it...
See that tap? Just there. That's my drainage. There's a little, see here, you have a look here. See that? That's the end of the tap.
Right.
So when it's, so that's an overflow.
So when it gets wet,
when that fills up,
it'll just drain away.
It'll drain away there. Yeah.
And
and honestly, you just leave them to their own devices. But I've got sundew and bladderwort round here, but native to the Grampians. And when that's in flower, it's the most specky flower. It's got fangs.
Right.
It's ridiculous. You know how the bladderwort they work?
And this is a sundew.
Yeah, these are just sundews. And a couple of varieties there.
So these have been here for a while?
Yeah.
But this one
7 years, I think.
Was red but has reverted to green.
Yeah, and got smaller. Don't know why, but it'll still do this weird flower. That's its flower.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So is that set seed?
I don't know. Look, that may be what happened. Might have cross-pollinated set seed and out-competed the other cultivar.
So you obviously don't feed these things, and you don't fertilise them?
You don't do it. All I do is cut them back every winter. Every winter they get cut down to here.
Right back to the ground.
And then they throw up the flower head. That comes up first.
Yep.
And it's always bizarre. And then, these guys follow.
And then they take care of themselves?
Yeah. You just watch the wasps disappear into it. At the end of the year, these will be full of bugs. Chock-a-block full of bugs. You can cut it open and it's just this graveyard.
That bladderwort, it's got a purple flower.
Purple flower.
Looks like a Paphodilum.
With two white fangs that come out of it.
Right.
Yeah, it's just declaring itself a predator.
And that's
I'm starting to get a little bit of issues with shading here because they really do want full sun.
Yep.
And it's currently only getting half a day's sun.
Right. So full sun's
they want full sun.
And if it doesn't rain, you put a bit of water on them.
Yeah.
So that you've got the bog.
Yeah. But look, I rarely think to water it. I really do.
This is just growing in, it's still a bog garden, but just in a pot.
That's a vase.
Same mixture with the...
Yeah, peat moss, 50% peat moss, 50% coarse sand.
And there's no drainage?
No drainage. I've got a little hole, that's what I like. Drill the hole somewhere.
To the way down sort of thing?
Yeah.
And that lets out any excess water?
Yeah.
And how long have these been in there?
5 years.
So if they've been in there 5 years, it must be working.
I mean, I've seen happier, but and that may need repotting.
But
they're entirely self-sufficient. The thing is, you don't feed ever.
But the thing is too that you can do it in something like this.
Yeah,
you don't have to get overly complicated.
No.
So 50% peat moss.
It's 50% coarse sand.
So
Washed river sand. Yeah,
washed river sand, yeah. So cut them back in winter after they sort of start to die back.
Yeah.
And the flower, well, that's really the seed head, is it?
Yeah, imagine there's a seed in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they sort of come up first.
Yeah.
But they hang on.
And they hang on.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they're pretty specky by themselves, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because they're different. And they've got a bit of colour to them.
See that weird umbrella? Imagine that's a seed head inside.
Strange structure. Yeah, that looks like the seed in the centre.
Protected from the rain. Like these little hoods protected from the rain.
Right, so the hood's on the top.
Yeah. So they don't fill up with water.
Stop the rain from getting in.
Yeah.
So
But when they fill up with insects,
yeah,
in winter, when I cut them back,
Yeah.
you can split one open and it's just full of these dried carcasses and stinks. They absolutely
I
stink.
can imagine. So our top tips for growing Sarracenia. Number 1, they need to be in moisture at all times. So either grow them in a bog garden, similar to what you saw earlier in the video, or grow them in a container, sit that container in water, and that container should be round about half full of water. Number 2, the type of container. Make sure that you're either using a plastic container like this, or you're using a pot that's glazed on the inside as well as the outside. Unglazed terracotta pots can leach salts and minerals into the potting soil, and Sarracenas don't like salts and minerals. Number 3, don't fertilise the plants. These are a plant that don't react well to fertiliser at all. Number 4, how much sunlight? This is a plant that really does like full sun. So 6 hours of direct sun every day in the growing season. Number 4, the mixture that you're growing them in. 1 part peat moss to 1 part perlite, or 1 part peat moss to 1 part washed river sand. Don't use potting soil because they have fertilisers in them. Don't use compost because all of these things will kill these plants. Number 5, let them have a dormancy. In winter, when the temperature drops down to say 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit and the daylight hours become shorter, then these plants go into dormancy. They'll stop growing. In some conditions, the plants will retain their pitchers all through winter. In others, they'll die back. And if they die back, you can cut them off right back at the base. In really cold areas, you will need to protect them from freezes. So either bring them indoors and put them in a really cool position, or cover them up with a layer of mulch so they're not subjected to freezing. In wintertime, you'll still need to keep them moist. And what are some of the biggest problems? Well, rhizome rot. And this happens when the plants are sitting too deeply in water. If the crown of the plant, this part here, is actually underwater or the water level's right up to here, then the rhizome can rot. And this is why we have it sitting in water, the crown above the water level. The peat moss absorbs the water and takes it up to the crown. So, don't drown your plants. Next, once the plant fills the pot, you'll need to pot it up into a larger pot or wait until it goes dormant and divide it, because overcrowded plants can die back. What does it mean if these pitchers are starting to turn brown? It means that either they're not getting enough water or they're not getting enough humidity. So make sure that you keep them moist at all times and provide them with some humidity. And what if the pitchers start to droop? Well, this is usually because of lack of light. So the 6 hours of good sun every day, that's the rule you need to follow. Should you cut the dead pitchers off? Yes, you should, because that's going to encourage more new ones to grow. You've seen them here in a very easy setup and they grow well like this, and you've seen them in a bog garden and they grow well like that as well. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for regular updates on a whole range of garden plants, and as always, good luck with your gardening.